Welcome to my community. I'm Sherwood McCaskie. As always, I'm pleased that you have joined us. This week's episode is carried by Sandie Field-Kellman and Gregory Barker. Sandie begins first of all by speaking to us about the haunted house. After that, she will take a stroll to Pile Bay, where she will be joined by Gregory Barker.
There was a house called Brighton House on the top of the hill. Now that was the main house in Brighton. It was like an old plantation house where the living dead performed. I'm only saying haunted because that is what we felt as children. That house was constructed in 1800, the year 1800, was owned by the Taylors, who had two children, Tony Taylor and Ann Taylor. Now that house was a staple in Brighton. Why? Because it was set right inside amongst lots of trees, lots of foliage, and it had a long driveway. And as you walked up the driveway, you were greeted with lots of trees, lots of hedges. So it gave a feeling of eeriness, and it was dark. So we used to go up there, and they had dead man flesh trees, and we used to pick the dead man flesh, and I hope that people remember what the dead man flesh is. And we used to take that dead man flesh and scatter it all on the grounds of Brighton House. So when Mr. Taylor saw us, out comes Mr. Taylor. Clap, 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 clap. What are y'all doing on my property? And he would have this large, long stick, which he will kind of like point at us, letting us know y'all are not to be on this property. And we would make jokes and say, oh, we are just picking some fruit. They also had an ackee tree where we used to go and pick the green ackees. Of course, at that time, when you pick green ackees, it would kind of like tie up your mouth and your tongue. So we did that. So over a period of time, we went there. And eventually we found when we went there that he would just not want us on his property. And always with this big stick running us. So we will run because as children, you get scared. Now, as I said, the house had this eerie feel about it. And his daughter, who was just about our age, who never really, I would say, interacted with us, she would tell us, not to come in here, don't come in here, because you do not know what you're going to see. Daddy doesn't want y'all on this property. And then, lo and behold, we met her brother. Her brother, Tony, he was actually in the area of music. And strange enough, the following week when we went there, mainly on Saturdays we went there because we were in school. We went there, we heard this band playing, or trying to play, striking up all of these various notes. And over a period of time, we went and introduced ourselves to these musicians. There were, I think, Wayne Branch, Roger Messiah, Jeffrey Miller, Tony Taylor, who was Mr. Taylor's son. And they started a band called Nerd. And at that time, lots of bands were playing on the hotel circuit. At the Bearded Fig Tree, various places, the Banana Boat, different places, Mary's Moustache, all those places. And over a period of months, the band changed its name again to the Love Machine. And one or two persons at that time, they went overseas, so they had 2 new members. After that, they changed the name again, and it became The Living Dead. Well, when we heard this name, The Living Dead, we then were saying to ourselves, you know what? This house has to be haunted. And because they were playing downstairs in the house, we used to go in that house. And haunted. It felt haunted. It felt eerie because it was dark and had that kind of like real creepy feeling. And I don't know if that was because we were children at the time and we were not really au fait with that type of look in a home. Remember, it was a plantation type of home, so it had that whole ambiance of being dark and serene and quiet. So we said to ourselves as children, let us go to the haunted house. We used to call that amongst ourselves. That's what we used to say. So those bands really and truly at that time, as I said, played at a lot of different places. And the last name of that band was The Living Dead. Actually, one of the guys, I'm very friendly with his sister, and he told me at that time the musicians were excellent. And of course, at that time, we did not have all of these songboards and drum machines, etc. But you can stay any part of Brighton, at the beach, down by the rum refinery, and you can actually hear these bands playing. So, and they used to, at sometimes like on a Sunday, bring other small bands, because as I said, so many bands were around at that time when we were young children. And we would just constantly, especially on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, just hear the music, hear the music. So Brighton House was a landmark at this present moment. There's a big warehouse there now, where workbench then eventually set up next door. And opposite is the car company, because opposite there was the paddock, the Chandler's horse paddock. At that time, because we were little, I mean, children now would know a lot about eerie houses and the haunted houses and so on. But I think when I grew up, I really thought that a lot of those types of homes, plantation homes, had that feeling, because I visited quite a few of those homes when I became a big teenager, and it always had that feeling. And then the type of furniture that they had, and all of the trees covering. And of course, in those days, the houses were not really painted in brilliant colors. It was mainly either soft stone or just painted in a plain cream color. And over the period of years, naturally, the rain made the walls a bit black and like mossy. So it had that feeling. Now, for other activities we used to take part in, we used to go down to the beach, which is near Pile Bay. We didn't bathe at Pile Bay. We bathed mainly by the hot pot or further up in Brighton. But Pile Bay, a landmark in Brighton. Pile Bay was a very busy, height of activity area. Fishing village.
My father was a fisherman. My grandfather was a fisherman. I come along doing little fishing in between. And we had a lot of fishing boats. We had about 16. The Empire Girl, we still have the Witness, Ready Dan and I.
The Blimp, Rabbit, Botany, Royal Home, Sindal, Enterprise, Vita Moore, and many other names. And these were the old sailboats, of course, which are no longer around.
My father's boat was named Greg, named it after me. So then after he passed, it was my boat, but I didn't keep it that long because it wouldn't stop leaking. Don't care what I do with it. I spent a lot of money on it and still keep leaking.
You can get it
Yeah, I had a guy from 6 Men come and fix it for me. An old guy named Bobby was the best shit right in Barbados. When they get damaged, because here was always a nice beach to haul the boats up. So he would come from St. Lucie and he would come and fix the boat. It was about 3 or 4 shit rights. But I don't remember all of them, but I know I can remember losing Bob very good. Because I mean, he was very close. But then he passed, so, you know, so I just bring here, I haul it up right up on this tree here. And it died, and we roast a lot of flatfish with it. I take the engine out, and we roast a lot of flatfish with it.
The fishermen were people like Kojak, Boxill, Potman, Jeffrey. These people were the present fishermen right now. The boats that they have right now, Simon Peter, Bill Fish, Era, Carolyn, and Mary Peter. Those are the present day boats. The fishermen at that time, who have now passed on, Bounty Shark, Nabby, Boshan, Baltram, Daddy, Charles Grant, and Ricardo. At that time, the boats in Pile Bay were not with engines. They were called sailboats. And the sailboats, of course, when they went out like 2.5 miles out to sea to catch their fish and to bring back in those sailboats, they had to actually jump off those boats, turn the sailboats around to come back into shore.
So that's when you used to use the land for marks. We used to call them marks. You would get like the monkey, the bluff, the cabbage cornet trees. The monkeys is, I don't know what it is, but it looked like a monkey over in Christchurch. It used to come up, as you go out further, it used to come up. So then it then used to move, so we used to take the marks off there. And we used to use it mostly for all the bars above the harbor, right? And this one down here, we used to use the factory. They had a big almond tree in the factory. We used to use that for marks, dropping fish pots, snapper pots. And out to the north, we had a big cabbage cornet tree that we used to use over there too. So what we used to do, you bring the marks together and you come in the center and you drop your pot because you know you're on the bar. The bar was Ruggers Ground, Horse Stable, the school. You know, the old people give them all those names. So then they teach us how to fish. So we were going to drop the pots and we had a guy here named Sakima. He was a giant, man, for hauling snappers. He used to hold some big ones. He used to bring shore. Well, it wasn't fiberglass boats at the time. It was wood boats. He used to bring the shore full of fish, man, full of snappers. And we used to go on morning before we go to school. Then all the guys my age, we used to come and we would bed and you're running going up to St. Stephen's School. Then when you come back, you come down, as the bell ring, you end up back down here to go snappering again, to take the fish pots off. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but we had that time, man.
And as soon as they brought in their catch and their fish, all of the females were there to take up this fish. And people used to come to Pile Bay, because I remembered my father used to go to Pile Bay to purchase fish, right? And of course, at that time, they had, lots and loads of flying fish, not like now. Another thing that they did when they were out fishing, they used to put dynamite to bring up the fish. And of course, pot fishing went on also.
And we had a guy here called Bogalore one time, used to blow dynamite. As little boys, we would come down, the mallets stayed. We would take off our clothes. Sometimes we naked as we born, and going to take headers and going to dive fish. All Bogalore used to say the police come in. We ran up with the mallets and up to the line, up. That time the police guy, he just wanted me to run so he could get the bouncy fish. Bogalore, an old guy, he liked blowing fish. That was his personal thing to get money. Yeah, he light it in time and stick a dynamite and the fish play right there. You see the mallet, he was so good, he could see when the mallet swimming in the water. And he would let the dynamite with the mallet and pelt it right in the sea and work it down. So I think you see the mallet just so float up. Yeah. And we come down, we play football and then we come down, run and take a header, take off our clothes, take a header and dive it all up. And carry home and give it to our parents to cook for me. Yeah. Things was a time, we used to swim till the morning when the fishing boats come in. When we come from school, we swim till the morning, fishing boats come in, we fish. And we go to eat some grub. When the fishermen cook the always used to make sure to cook to bring grub for us. And we had a spoon, we got a skillet, and we put behind and eat. That's how we used to eat our food out there in the morning. Sakima and Chad Bob and Hicks and all them used to bring grub, make sure to bring grub for me, man. Yeah.
We're speaking of the late 1950s, the 1960s, and the 1970s. This area was very different then.
Before the highway came through, it was beautiful. A lot of trees, a lot of fruit trees. We can go and pick donks, coconuts. You know, little boy, you're going from people's land, you're stealing these things, you're having a ball with them, man. Like the power wasn't there yet. And like the power came and it brings some small engines. They said it was only branded for a trial, and that's what we having right there now, after all those years. Then the next thing was Shell. We always had Texaco over there. We used to got boats coming with diesel, and gasoline, all that, and aviation fuel, all that used to go at Texaco before they built the thing up by the airport. Right. And then Shell came along, and we had passed over there. We used to play our football and cricket, and then come and done all our games. And then as I grow a little taller, we had a lot of palm boats. We used to go palm boat racing, and the people from Spikestown used to come up, and we used to go like races, beam races, we call it beam races, 2 boats. And you're overboard and you're taking headers off the boats. We used to go real, sometimes you can see the sand side. As further as you go off, the land goes up on the water. So when we get a certain way, like you can't see the sand, then we will line up. Something used to be 12 and 14 boats, 15 boats. And so every man would go a jib out like this. So the guy that got Lee, you call this Lee, the last man that got the last number, he would say, you all fellas ready? Stand by, go. And you would start your boat and you would swim from here all up by line of party behind your boat, because sometimes the boats are so thick that some of them the sail don't get wind, so it would shake up. So you would see the top fellas going to the north, right? And then swimming, and then the wind would break them, and when the wind break them, they would come back up, and you already out there, and then you come down now. So that's where the fun started. Then you hit them up here, like, yeah. it was beautiful. I love palm boat racing. We used to have like Alpha Tom, Jordan. You know, the guy that owned Jordan supermarket? Right. And Potty, you can remember Potty? Right. Potty was a big fan of this sport. And Ban, a guy from all those Spikestown men that used to come up and race palm boat with us. Every Sunday, every my holiday, every Independence Day, when I work in DB Productions, and we inside a large court setting up setting up for anything. I tell them my time is up, I go on. They used to be vexed, because I used to drive the truck. So they used to be vexed. They used to bring the truck and park it in Gazettes and get in my car and get to home to get my palm boat to come up my beach to go racing. Man, I enjoy that. That was my best fun ever. Yep. Behind palm boat, man. Love palm boat racing. I still have my palm boat at home. Yeah, I still have my palm boat. Still have it. And we would like to race palm boats again. Yeah. Don't mind, I would teach a youngster, but you see the youngsters don't want to come in. Because there's a lot of work, because there's a lot of swimming. I ain't able to do much swimming now. I can talk about palm boat for the whole year, because that was my sport. Cracker, you know about Cracker Goddard? Footballer? Yeah, he's the only boy we got here in Barbados now can build boats. Ricardo Goddard, he was the captain in Barbados team many times. So they call him Cracker. Yeah. Yeah, many times, man. He's the only boy can build palm boats right now. Yeah, because all the palm boat men gone. And when he started to do anything, he liked to do it good. Oh, he said pretty. Yeah, that little boy called Cracker.
The other thing that stands out in my mind is the Cubana air crash. That day, a lot of us were on the beach and coming to the beach. No, it did not happen near in, it happened a way out.
And if we could hear it all over, I was up the hill by my cousin in his house.
We saw all of the explosion when it came up, fell in the sea, and it was out to the sea, right way out.
It come over, you flash a plane out, going down off Paradise. So we ran down here. And we ran down here, we went off Paradise, and we saw like the tug and some boats going around in a circle. And they said that some ends of bodies was floating up. That's all I can tell you about that right now. And then we saw the police boat. It wasn't like it is like now with an old police boat, Harbour Police, and it was taking the bodies up and put them on where the Jolly Rogers is now. Right, they used to carry them there.
It was almost 3 hours after the crash when the first badly mutilated bodies were brought ashore. The plane was carrying 62 Cubans, of whom 23 were crew members, 11 Guyanese, and 5 North Koreans. The victims included the Cuban fencing team, which was returning home from the Caribbean Youth Championships in Caracas, where it won all 8 gold medals.
1976, I will never forget that, okay? And I mean, for days on end after that, we used to come to the beach just to see and try to understand what this thing was about. Because remember, we were young then, and we couldn't piece it together. And over the next few weeks, a lot of debris used to come to shore. So that Cubana crash has stayed with me, and every time October comes around, that always comes back to me when they have it on the in the media on CBC, when they're showing, you know, talkings like with Mr. Commission speaking about the book and all the happenings and so on. And the monument, whenever I pass the monument, it really stares me in the face because I remember that so well as if it's yesterday.
As children, Sandie and Gregory did not quite understand what was happening here at that time. But yes, the tentacles of international terrorism had reached the shores of Barbados. From one tragedy to others, Gregory remembers the fishermen who were lost at sea.
We had a fella here near Cossimare. He went drift, but the find here in the boat in St. Lucia, which was the Empire Girl. And when they was bringing back the boat, when they was taking the boat up in a crane to put it on the boat to bring it back here, it just dropped up brown on the pier on my ship. Never see that boat again. Never see that boat again. And then we had a guy here named Wally had some boats. Wally Hinkson had some boats. It was he had Sebastian 1 and 2. And then all told him to drift. Nobby went in 1, he never come back. A guy named Nobby, never come back. And I can't remember the other guy that went out in the other one, but they never come back. Or Borky, he went out in the boat, never come back neither. We lost about 3 or 4 fishermen. I went out to sea and never come back here. Yeah, never come back.
And at that time, a lot of the waste from the rum refinery used to flow into the sea because you can see the color.
Right off on the refinery, they had like a gutter, so the water used to, when they done make the rum, all the water off the. I can't remember the name of the water now, but it all there's water that would run on the top and drop right in the sea. And when the current is coming out, all down here used to be green.
So where we were bathing, we can actually see with the naked eye the color of the waste that came into the ocean.
The people said that can't happen no more, so they had to put some pipe out. And if you look out, you can see a buoy way out there. That's where the pipe ran right now. So all the water goes, there's water go out there now.
A stone's throw away from Pile Bay is paradise. Gregory shares experiences of paradise.
We used to go to Paradise on Wednesday nights. It used to be floor shows. And we used to got a lot of bands used to come into Paradise at the time. We used to got Sparrow and the Troubadours, the Trade Winds. We went so far that we even had the Platters. And they wanted Hubert Grant to come and sing, because the lead singer just passed away, and he would not go. Then we used to got Laurie. Laurie had about 3 or 4 bands used to be down there. And the 3+2, and the Merry Boys, and the Merry Men, all them bands we used to go to parties and see on Wednesday nights. Yeah, real fun. We had a lady named Erla. She used to wear a big hat. And when she come down from the beach and she heard the calypso, she used to dance and walk up. And I had a guy named Tony used to be up behind her. And we used to go bare fun. It was a lot of fun down Paradise. And sometimes the sea used to get rough, like around Christmas. And the water used to be coming all up to the Paradise, to the dining room, and we got to be jumping up from getting wet. Yeah, only around Christmas time, December, the sea always used to be big. And sometimes during the day we would walk, and we would find a lot of coins, money, silver dollars, and that time it was 50-cent pieces. Yeah, sometimes gold. I still have a ring at home that I find down there. Yeah, gold ring. Yeah. So we had good times here on Pile Bay and Paradise and Brandon. And you see right over Brandon side, all up there was water, you know. Yeah, all up there was water. And the water used to reach like up to your knee, sometimes a little lower. And you would go up there, and as boys we used to catch a lot of, we call it head chow, we call it blowfish when we used to cut them out and take all the meat out and cure them, mend them back up and put some sand in them and stuff them out and put them in the sun. And then when the skin get hard, we would choke the sand, varnish it, and go to Paradise and sell it. That's what we used to do. That's how we make our living. And we used to go and dive curl dive staghorn and carnation and all those kind of coral. And sell it at Paradise, the tourists. The tourists used to be nice at that time, we had a problem. Yeah, we sell our coral and make our money. That's how we make money, the little boys coming up.
Pile Bay has become an entertainment spot attracting many weekly.
Bush bar right over there, you get all the pork chops. Right. A lot of you people from CBC come down there and go out there. Sometimes the Prime Minister go out there and then some of the ministers and sit down and eat the pork and drink a liquor. And you got a lot of roast fish. You roast a lot of fish. Right. Or sometimes you have a pot, a big black pot of the cook barbers and eat barbers. You ever hear about barbers? They call it the doctor fish. They say good for you. Get a lot of stamina. So you go come down and get some barbers.
Pile Bay Fish Landing Facility was officially opened by our Prime Minister, Mayor Amor Motley, on May the 21st, 2021. But what was the area like prior to that?
The old market was, they used to call it a shed. But then when Lawson Weeks got into power, when he seat, he came down, he put on 2 toilets and a bath on third. And that's the only thing we had for a lot of years. They come and change it up, that's how we get this. And everybody like in a beautiful place, man. Yeah, Prime Minister come over then, and from there we had it.
It is a beautiful place and it has lots of chairs and seating with umbrellas and so on where the people of the area live and hang out on Fridays and Saturdays. It still has that quaint, secluded feeling because remember it is down inside, whereas lots of fishing villages like Spikestown and down at Tent Bay and so on are more open, but Pile Bay is like a kind of a little area closed in and put away, so it's very quaint. So it is an area I think that we should more or less keep as one of the landmarks in Barbados.
It is an inheritance which has been recently enhanced and upgraded by the government. It is our responsibility to maintain that special character and authenticity of the area, Pile Bay. I'm Sherwood McCaskie. This has been My Community. Thanks for your time.